Hey everyone, I'm very apologetic for the big delay. It's been about 6 weeks since I left CPI, so a lot has happened. I took some rough notes here and there, so I'm sure I'll miss a lot, but I'm trying to give you guys a small timeline or a bit of a timeline on what's happened since the last video. So we actually did end up making my nonstop flight back the day we left on Saturday. Real thanks to the driver from CPI. He was hightailing it. We got stuck in horrible traffic. The medical lane was blocked. He ended up, going to another medical lane and then just going as fast as humanly possible until he hit the freeway. If anybody's watching from CPI though, without breaking the speed limit, of course. Um, so real appreciation to him if he ends up seeing this. I ended up flying home on Saturday. My injections were, on Thursday and then Friday, but my primary ones were on Thursday of that. And the following Monday, so I want you guys to keep in mind, prior to going to CPI, and even while I was in Mexico, I just couldn't sleep more than an hour and a half. Like 2 hours really was like a success for me. So I was exhausted all the time. It was just, the pain was miserable. I got back on that Monday and I slept for 9 hours straight. I actually slept for 20 hours total. My body really needed it. I mean, I was just starved for sleep. And fast forward 6 weeks now. Yesterday actually, I had a appointment with my pain management doc, and they're really surprised. I'm off everything. I was on Lyrica, reasonably high doses, 152 3 times a day. I was on intermittent, Tylenol 4. I'm off that entirely. I'm on no medications whatsoever. I can't overstate it. Mind you, it's still going. This is just 6 weeks out, and the healing's meant to continue for at least 3 months to 6 months. As long as you take good care. I'm not partaking in anything too fun, no alcohol, no nothing. So I'm trying to follow the guidelines. But I can turn my neck in ways that I just haven't been able to since my 20s. I had perpetual chronic right shoulder pain that was really stemming from, I guess, my neck. It's gone. It's gone. Never comes back. It's been amazing. I've got notes over here, so I'm looking at them. One thing that's interesting about this is I kind of heard about it from other people, but you have to experience it. It's really difficult to describe. I have what I call, and I think what I've been calling, good stem cell days and bad stem cell days. So, for example, I had my shoulders injected, and my right arm recovered really quickly. My left arm, I kind of had like little T-Rex next to me. For a prolonged period. Now my arms are fine, full range of motion, but every so often I'll wake up with a bad stem cell day, as I call it, and it's not just my shoulders, it's everywhere, and it's always at the same time. And I'll have some additional stiffness in my neck and my, low back and my shoulders. I think it's just some sort of, it's a guess, pure guess, but I think the stem cells are cycling through something, which is interesting. Something else that's interesting is, for example, my right calf. I had a lot of issues with my left leg. I never had any issues with my right leg. But one night, weeks after I'd left CPI, I was laying in bed and I couldn't sleep well because I had this really significant discomfort in my right leg. And it only lasted for about 12 hours and my right leg was fine again. I think if I had to suspect what it was, it might be that homing mechanism they talk about with stem cells where they're searching for air damaged areas. And it would kind of make sense, that my left leg had so many problems that my right leg was probably bearing a brunt of the load, trying to compensate. And it probably took some wear. So, but right leg's great. My left leg has some intermittent, slight discomfort still, but, some days it's nothing, some days it's there. But even when the discomfort's there, it is nothing related, remotely similar to what I had previously where I couldn't sleep. This is just like light discomfort or maybe a light differential in strength. It's nominal. What I had before was agonizing. So, that's that's been pretty significant. Um, let's see. Yeah. So, again, the worst thing I had was from my L4, L5 injury was that radiating pain in my left leg that made it so I couldn't sleep, couldn't walk very well. Like I couldn't travel. I mean, I could walk, but I couldn't travel. Like, you know, the idea of having to travel, I'd only do it for work. I mean, 2021, I did like 13 countries. Now the idea of traveling for fun it was nightmarish. I would travel for work if I had to, and then it was extremely painful. I think it was 3 to 4 weeks after I left CPI. I think it was like March 4th. I ended up feeling good enough that I flew out to Vegas for the John Jones fight. I happen to love the fight, so I showed up a bit early, caught some of the prelims, and I mean, I sat in an arena seat for 7 hours without a cushion of any sort. And I felt fine. Left there feeling great. About a week later, I went to South by Southwest. Was at South by for a week. Felt great. It's they say, listen, you're gonna feel good. Don't do anything stupid. Don't hurt yourself. I'm really trying not to. So I'm not really exercising. I'm not doing anything. I'm not lifting weights. But this has been a godsend. I mean, it's really hard to overstate. I drive and like a luxury electric sedan, or I did prior to my injury. And I don't know if it's the height of the sedan or the angle of the seats, but I couldn't use it. I couldn't use it at all. It was excruciating. I'd feel a huge pain when I was in it. My legs would feel like tingling and numbness after I got out of it. It was undrivable. Now I took a trip to a meeting in my buddy's Porsche, which is substantially lower to the ground. It's like basically on the ground, and no pain. It's totally fine. Before I was using cushions for everything. I was using cushions for office chairs and ergonomic chairs. I just to give you an idea, if I was laying in bed and let's say there was like a remote control, and let's say I extend my arm out when I'm in bed, and the remote control's 2 inches away from my fingertips, I couldn't get it. I would try to reach out a little bit to grab that, and I would get like this electrifying, pain through my leg, and my whole body would just tense up, and I couldn't even do that. So I mean, this is really, it's really changed my life. I don't know. It's been big. I think that covers a good portion of it. If you guys have any questions for me, please fire away. My current game plan is I'm going back in April for just some IV stem cell top-ups. They don't think it's safe to inject my discs again more than once every 6 months. When I went down there, they said that I had more discs than they felt they could safely inject. So I think they only did about 5 discs at one time. So I have another appointment for August for a 6-month mark set of additional injections to try and, I'm going to get a whole new set of MRIs done, see what needs to be done. But pretty good chance I'm going to need some more injections. Just at this point, it's just proactive medicine. I mean, I can't more properly express how grateful I am for this. This has been a godsend for me. I was told to have spine surgery, and I don't know if I mentioned this before, but there's a very famous stem cell place in Colombia that a lot of UFC fighters have gone to, and my wife, who's a physician, was like, oh, that place seems like it's been around for a while. You should give them a shot. They seem really credible, and they seemed great. So when I talked to them, though, they actually told me, hey, we want to look at your MRIs. They looked at them. They had a neurosurgeon look at my MRIs, and I say it derisively. You'll hear why in a moment. But the neurosurgeon looked at my MRIs and said that the stenosis in my spine, basically the narrowing, was so narrow that he thought it was a danger to me to inject stem cells there, and that he recommended I have surgery. And I was distraught. I mean, these are the guys who are supposed to help me, protect me from getting surgery, help save me from it. And so I thought I was cooked. And, I don't recall if I told the story, so apologies if I have, but I went and I talked to my pain management doc, and he said, well, I put a mil of contrast in and 5 mils of additional fluid in there, and steroids. It was totally fine. I called an interventional radiologist I know, and he said, well, I put cement in people, and sometimes it leaks. It's not supposed to, but when it does leak and people's disc areas, it really doesn't cause any problems. So neither one of them could fathom why this would be a problem. And so, I'm so grateful to CPI for these results, for this outcome, for taking such good care of me, for the help, and for giving me this option, because even other stem cell places that are reputable, you get a bad doctor who thinks that there's some sort of an issue, and there's no logic. I mean, every American doctor I spoke to said, well, I don't have stem cells to help you, but I can't see why it would hurt you, at least based on that. So I'm really grateful. So thanks Scotty, thanks Ed, thank you, everybody at the team there. I'm really grateful. So I'm gonna try to be better. I'm working on a huge project, and it's just taking up so much of my time. But I'll try and do at least weekly updates, give you some updates as I continue to hopefully improve. One other thing. So a lot of goods. Let me tell you the one bad. So the one bad is, and I don't think this is expected, so I'm not sure what's going on with it. I had an EKG done at CPI before I got my stem cells done. EKG came back clean, so I didn't have this issue prior. And I exercised a bit prior. So I got back. They told me don't do anything for 2 weeks. So 2.5 weeks later, they said you're clear to do some walking. And truth be told, they said you're clear to do 1 to 2 blocks of flat level walking. And I thought, this is a recommendation for 90-year-old people, not to try to, usually physicians give you the most conservative recommendation to prevent you hurting yourself. And I thought, well, you know what? I'll do a light walk with my business partner who's in his 60s on a slight incline on a golf course. And we were walking for about 6 or 7 minutes, and my legs started to feel heavy, and I thought, this is strange. This is not a strenuous or fast walk. My partner's in his 60s. He's on the phone talking while we're walking. And, I just paused for a moment, pulled out my Apple Watch and checked my heart rate, and it was 157. I thought, holy shit, that's not great. So we turned around and started walking downhill, leveled it out a bit and grabbed breakfast. And so now, even 6 weeks out, I have a relatively elevated heart rate. Sometimes my resting heart rate's 70s, which is not terrible, but not amazing. And then a lot of times it's in the 80s. I'll do like a light walk around my house and it hits the low hundreds. I'll do like a light walk on level ground around my neighborhood. I'm around 115, 120. And I'm afraid to try an incline. So, I'm hoping that with some more time that this will subside. But I'm actually scheduling just proactive because I'm really excited to go back in April and have my IV stem cells done. But before I put more things in my blood, I just want to check myself out, see if I have the off chance I have an unrelated to stem cells cardiac issue. I'm going to go do a stress test. But this elevated heart rate really, again, it might just be false correlation, but it really does feel like it started after my stem cells, which is interesting because, again, the only other time I've had elevated heart rate for a prolonged period was after I got COVID. And I talked to an IM doc I'm friends with, and he said, well, it's actually a symptom I'm seeing with a lot of my patients. He goes, I suspect it's an inflammatory response. But, in this case, stem cells are actually meant to be, help alleviate inflammation. So, it doesn't seem like this should be similar. So, I'll keep you guys updated on that as well as soon as I get that done. And if you have any questions, send them my way. Again, my sincerest thanks to CPI. I just, it feels like at this point it's going to be a new lease on life. So, thanks guys. Have a great one.